What message would you give the people in your generation about voting?
Um, a message I would give would be I know this election may be hard. It may be a hard one to even start with for your first presidential election. But I do believe that now is the time to research and think as hard as you can about what you want for this country. And if worst comes to worst with any candidate in this election, please remember that the government works for us. We don't work for them. And if you have any grievances to air, please air them in any way that you can. We have social media at our fingertips now. It's really amazing. And one of the many gifts of our founding fathers have given us is freedom of speech and the right to protest and use our voice to check our government and remind them that tyranny, hate, and fascism does not belong in our country as we live in a democracy. So the past has passed, and with unity, it's definitely possible for us to change our country for the future, and hopefully that's for the better. Hi, Yusuf.
Hey,
So what types of offices are on the ballot, and why do they matter to me?
thank you. And I actually want to uplift something you said earlier about like they work for us. We have to make sure that they realize that like they're public servants, which means they work and serve the public. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes it's really easy to focus on the big ticket presidential and congressional or senate races, but we don't really think about the local races. We don't think
Right.
about the state races. And so the state legislature is effectively your state government, right? So things that are about state law that affect us, like for instance, last year we fought really hard for bail reform that was rolled back in some senses. There were some changes to the bail laws. There was a repeal of 50A at the state legislature this year. 50A is a police secrecy law that basically allowed police records to be hidden. That was repealed this year because of the state legislature. So the state legislature has significant power over policing, over schools, over so many things that matter to us that are closer to us. And then obviously there's the federal election, which is the presidential, and the congressional election. So each of those have different roles and capacities and have different effects on our lives, but they're all very important. And so if people are really really interested in how do you make sure your voices are heard, definitely show up to vote. But don't just vote, right? Like it's so important to vote, but also after the election, show up and make sure that okay, we voted you in. Now, did you do the things that we asked you to do, and where are my receipts? Because I want to make
Right.
sure that you're doing what we asked you to do. So it's a continuous effort, and it's about continuing to make sure that your voices are heard after they're elected too.